Welcome back, collectors. Wasn't sure really what to work on today. I have so much stuff to film. I almost got a little overwhelmed, and then I lost a bunch of footage when I did try to make an Auto World release 4, 5, and 3 review video, 9-box opening. Didn't really turn out as I planned, so kind of just gave up on that for now. And in lieu of that, for what was supposed to be my Saturday video, the weekend video, I think we're going to look at this massive, sprawling lot of vintage Hot Wheels that has taken up my entire die-cast museum's floor nearly for at least a week now. I'd like to get it moved out of the way. Had various ideas, everything from running a racetrack through it to driving an RC car over them, looking at each one individually, and just a whole ton of ideas that haven't really come to fruition. Almost too many choices. So instead, I think we're going to do the storybook version of the Hot Wheels that you see here on the floor. Not how I got them necessarily, but just looking at their play damage, play wear for fun, and trying to determine what their lives may have looked like in their previous owner's hands, because certainly these were not all from my youth or young adult days. Many of these cars, and if not most of them, have come from flea markets, yard sales, auctions, and antique stores, hobby stores, just pretty much anywhere that you could find junky old Hot Wheel diecast cars. And none of these were too expensive either. Pretty much all rescues, in my opinion. And before you get too seriously invested in these cars, keep in mind I am not a seller of vehicles at this time. Nothing you're going to see here is likely for sale unless you throw me a massive offer on whatever it is you're interested in. It's really just not worth my time to part out this collection, nor do I have any actual interest to do that. So, that being said, let's move along with the meat and potatoes of the video, so to speak. Why do I have so many cars like this? Well, why do I have an entire basement of a house completely filled with cars on the walls? That's a good question. I just really enjoy collecting Hot Wheels, always have since the age of 3, now 38, so it's likely not to slow down. And I've been having a lot of fun doing it, a lot of fun sharing these videos with you guys here on YouTube. Love reading all the comments and feedback, questions that I can answer, if possible, on any of these old vintage cars, as certainly most of them are quite old, and I've learned a lot about them over the years. Hence how I've able to complete quite a complete collection, let's just say. So, yeah, there's just going to be a ton of cars in here, as you can see. Various states of condition. Some of these are truly old favorites of mine. Cars that I dreamed to own. Little Hot Wheel cars I dreamed to own as a kid. And as I got into my early 20s, that was about when eBay really started to take off. And I just started soaking the market up of anything I could find on eBay that was cheap, local, and old. And I was pretty successful at it for a number of years until, of course, eBay really took off and people started doing a lot of the same. Not probably in small part due to my channel, kind of encouraging this sort of collection, if possible, if that's your interest, and certainly it was mine. So there you go. I've got the cars kind of sorted anyways by brand. We've got a ton of Corvettes here, vet vans, monster vets, 80s vets, 63 split window vets, 75 Stingray vets, funny car vets, custom vets. Well, there's a bunch of Lamborghinis behind those, but you kind of get the point that I've sorted them out. These do normally reside in shoebox tubs that just kind of reside around this room's perimeter on the floor for easy access and play. And actually, this isn't even all of them. We're just going to cruise up here and over and have a little seat next to some other interesting cars. A bunch of Ferraris, Testarossa, 348s, 308s, F40s, and I think that's about it for the Ferraris. Just a ton of cool old cars. Oh, we got those old ones over there too. 200s or something, I don't know. Some have lost parts, some have fire damage, some are broken, some are squashed. And some have some pretty crazy corrosion damage to them. Others, obvious mutilation. And then just the passage of time, play and wear. The roofless Jaguar is actually from my very young youth. I do remember smashing that with my foot and losing the roof. One of the few examples of a childhood-owned car in this collection. Most of these cars would have been released or sold when I was still far too young to actually be collecting them. I was just reliant on whatever my parents got me for birthdays and Christmas, and the odd reward when I was being a good child at the grocery store. And you know what? I kind of always knew I was going to end up with a ridiculous amount of Hot Wheels. I loved them so much growing up, playing Hot Wheels with my sister, passing many hours. I kind of knew that I was going to continue to buy Hot Wheels with every disposable dollar that I had for a very long time, possibly forever. And actually the plan has not changed 35 years later. So we've still got quite a few cars to actually put out on the floor, but I did start running out of room. As you can see, it was becoming a bit of a nuisance for filming other videos. So the trucks have stayed in the bin, delivery vans as well, and ambulances, fire trucks. They're pretty much sorted. There's only about 2 or 3 different castings in these bins. Broncos, that's a bin entirely full of just Broncos. So really, part of this all started to sort these bins out a little better because they'd kind of gotten a little bit peppered with various cars over the years. The Sheriff Patrol bin, 57 T-Birds and Chevy. 55 Chevys are also in there. The Porsche bin. So the question really becomes, what do we do now with these? Now you know a little bit of a backstory on this collection of, I did count it. It was about 3,000 cars. I don't remember the exact number anymore. And that does not include the ones that are still in the bins. So my total junk Hot Wheel, just Hot Wheels collection, and these are cars mainly just released from about 1977 through till about 1990. Not even, maybe. Well, it's probably about 4,000 cars. The front running Fairmont Stalker, or Fairmont front running Stalker, I think that one's called. I remember looking for those extensively back in the days when I could go to the local circle racetrack, dirt racetrack, where men used to race open stock, kind of garage-built cars around a dirt track. Bumping, well, actually it was paved. Part of it was paved. Paved and then dirt. I don't know, or dirt and then paved. Anyways, really, although there was only a few times that I went to the racetrack, a couple times just with my dad, a couple times with my whole family, and actually a couple times later on as I was a young adult in my 20s. So 15 years ago. That track is now since closed. They don't race there anymore, but that was when I really wanted those cars, because I remember just taking a real interest in open stock cars. Then we got the Jeep Scramblers, Stutz Bear Hawks next to them, behind them. Always liked Jeeps, as it would turn out. I would become a proud owner of a Jeep. Several Jeeps, actually, through my lifetime, and still currently a Jeep owner. And, of course, classic cars. Well, you don't see too many Hot Wheels of cars this old anymore. And I've done my best to preserve what I can of that vintage collection, because most of these are heavily play-worn, usually disposed of cars in Value Village type dollar store consignment shops. Once they get play-worn, they're usually of almost no value, as you can see, because they are quite common. But always of value to a collector like me. Got the Mini Trek over here. It's a pretty cool truck. And the Byway Man and or Super Scraper. Baja Beetles, just an absolute ton of them. Behind them, the 56 Hightail Hauler. Some of those castings going all the way back to 1977 in the blue enamel. Super Vans behind them. Torino Stalkers. And Monte Carlo Stalkers as well. Almost the same casting. A little back window helps delineate the Monte Carlo Stalker from the Torino Stalker quite easily. But other than that, not much change. They share the same base. The 6-wheel GMC motorhome, a true, real vehicle in real life, quite collectible. And very interesting to have in this collection. Oshkosh snowplows. Most of them missing their blades. The Thunder Roller, one of the best Hot Wheels ever and quite heavy. As you can see, 6 wheels as well. Plastic base, but just a chunk of die cast. Same can be said for these Greyhound buses here, which are actually an MCI, I believe. Some sort of MCI product. Garbage trucks. And hot rods. Oldsmobile Aurora. Not too many of those. Those are kind of the newer cars in the fleet. Lots of Mercedes 380 SEL. In a variety of colors. And of course the 40s Woody. Iconic casting, as most of these are. Neat streeters. Ford 3 windows. The AOK. And the classic Packard. Just to name a few. We couldn't possibly have a video on vintage Hot Wheels without discussing the Hot Bird. Truly one of the most successful Hot Wheel castings of all time. One of the most highly collected, highly sought after, and to this day, highly valuable. Well, maybe not all of these ones. The blown Camaro, also quite cool. A lot of cool variations about that car. Some hard to find ones, actually even in this junk pile. Then we got the 80s Camaro. Camaro Z28, Hot Wheels calls it. That's also quite a nice casting, although they all have the opaque windows, no interior. And a couple more really cool cars. The Grease Gremlin in the back row behind those Cobra AC 427s. Lots of cool cars there. And then some older ones, funny cars, Top Eliminator, American Funny Car, Roger Dodger, some with apparent windshield damage. Check out these old cars. Oldsmobile 442, Taxi and Police version, 55 Nomads, Dixie Challengers. There's a Peugeot. And the AMC Pack and Pacers. Pretty cool. And let's not skip over the Fox Body Mustangs. Certainly some of these can be worth quite a bit in good shape. What happened to this one? What happened? I'm going to guess sandbox. These are old though. 1983, 84. It's hard to say. 67 Camaro with opening hood. Iconic piece. In mint condition, these cars can be worth $70, $80 US. This condition, it's hard to say. The Pontiac 3000, I think. Sunfire, something like that. They'll never say on the base that's a Hot Wheel thing. Oh, it does. J2000. That's rare. They don't always say on the base, especially the old days. A couple change color cars. Ford Thunderbirds. Stalkers just locked in place. And, well, who could forget the Jaguars? We already looked at those, actually. Race cars. Lots of race cars. Concept cars. I could name them all, but you don't necessarily want to hear every name of every Hot Wheel that's out here. We'd be here all day. Nissan. Love the Nissans. And these are all 300ZX. And we got the 280Z. These are the Datsuns a little bit earlier. Let's not miss those. Pretty cool stuff. Well, I think we're going to call it there. Hope you got your fix of vintage broken Hot Wheels. If you're after anything, get out there, Happy hunting, happy collecting. That's what it's all about.